Hey guys, Andre here, your personal trainer. Let me ask you something. Have you ever fallen for ridiculous muscle building myths? I know I have. Today I'm going to share some of the biggest muscle building misconceptions I once believed. Some of them are so crazy you won't believe it. Stick around till the end. You might discover that you've been misled too. Myth number 1. Stretching before lifting improves muscle growth. Back in my early lifting days, I used to stretch before workout. Why? Because I saw big guys at the gym doing it, so I assumed it must be beneficial for muscle growth. But then I did my own research, and guess what? There's actually no benefit to stretching before lifting. In fact, it can be counterproductive. Let me explain why. Let's look at static stretching. Studies show that prolonged static stretching, holding a stretch for 30 seconds plus before lifting, can temporarily decrease strength, power, and muscle activation. This happens because stretching relaxes the muscle and reduces its ability to generate force, which can negatively impact performance in heavy lifts. So, what do I recommend? Dynamic warm-ups are better for lifting instead of static stretching. Dynamic warm-ups like bodyweight squats, lunges, or resistance band work activate muscles, improve mobility, and prepare your body for lifting. The question: should you stretch at all? Before lifting, like I said, focus on dynamic stretching and activation exercises. Or after lifting, static stretching can be beneficial for flexibility and recovery, but it won't directly build muscle. Let's move on. The next muscle building myth might surprise you. In fact, I bet many of you follow it, thinking it's the key to gaining muscle. You should do 8 to 12 reps to build muscle. For years, I believed in this rule and even recommended it to others. But here's the truth. It's not that simple. Before yelling at me, let me explain why. The idea that 8 to 12 reps is the best range for muscle growth is a common misconception, because muscle can grow across a wide range of reps, not just in this traditional hypertrophy zone. So, is 8 to 12 reps useless? No, it's still an effective range because it balances weight, fatigue, and volume. It's not the only way to build muscle. You can train across different rep ranges and still grow as long as you push close to failure and progressively overload over time. Let me break it down for you. Hypertrophy occurs when muscle experiences mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. This can happen in low, moderate, and high rep ranges. Research shows that high reps, 15 to 30, can produce similar hypertrophy as lower reps, as long as sets are taken close to failure. This means you don't have to be locked into 8 to 12 reps. High reps with lighter weights can still build muscle effectively, and it's safer on your joints because of lighter weights. Studies show that as long as you train close to failure, hypertrophy can occur in any rep range. The amount of tension on the muscle matters more than the rep range itself. You can build muscle with both heavy and light weights as long as the set is challenging. My friends, don't get me wrong, 8 to 12 reps is still effective, but don't get too overly fixated on that number. Next muscle building myth: lifting heavy builds more muscle, aka ego lifting. Early in my lifting journey, I used to chase heavier weights, feeling an adrenaline rush every time I lifted big. I thought this was the key to building muscles. Sounds familiar? I've seen many beginners fall into the same trap, but here's the truth. You need to be careful. Let me explain why. Lifting heavy alone won't necessarily build muscle if certain key factors are missing. While heavy lifting, low reps, high weight is great for muscle strength, muscle growth, hypertrophy requires more than just heavy loads. Here's why. Strength doesn't equal size. Strength training, 1 to 5 reps heavy weight, focuses on neuromuscular adaptations. Your nervous system gets better at recruiting muscle fibers, making you stronger. However, muscle growth requires sufficient volume and time under tension, which heavy lifting alone doesn't always provide. Hypertrophy benefits more from total time under tension, which means more reps and longer sets. But here's another reason: not training close to failure. Going to failure is key for hypertrophy, whether you lift heavy or light. Some heavy lifters stop well before failure to avoid from breakdown, which means they are not fully fatiguing the muscle fibers needed for growth. My friends, important note: when you lift too heavy, your form is more likely to suffer. You'll be tempted to cheat reps, relying on momentum or engaging the wrong muscles. That's ego lifting. And trust me, it's not worth it. I learned this the hard way. I got injured, and guess what? I couldn't work out for months. It sucked. Don't make the same mistake. It is good until it's not. Next muscle building myth: fasting helps build muscle. Yep, you heard it right. Fasting. I once believed that fasting was great for muscle growth because research shows it improves insulin sensitivity and boosts human growth hormone. And that's true, but here's the problem. Where the heck will your body get the building materials? Imagine a construction crew with the best tools but no bricks or cement. That house isn't getting built. Muscle growth works the same way. You need fuel and nutrients to build muscle. Let me explain you why fasting won't help build muscle, because muscle growth requires consistent caloric and protein intake to fuel repair and growth. Here's why fasting can be counterproductive for muscle building. First, muscle growth requires a caloric surplus. Building muscle requires more calories than you burn to provide energy for protein synthesis. Fasting puts your body in a caloric deficit, making it harder to gain muscle mass. Muscle growth depends on a steady supply of amino acids from protein intake. Long fasting periods mean no protein intake, leading to muscle breakdown instead of growth. If you want to build muscle, forget about fasting. And finally, the most ridiculous muscle building myth I ever believed: using a rolled up towel under your neck while bench pressing. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I know. You're probably thinking, what the heck? Well, back in my early lifting days, a gym buddy told me he read an article about this mysterious towel trick that supposedly helps build muscle. It sounded weird, but I gave it a shot. Spoiler alert, it did absolutely nothing. No science, no logic, just pure gym folklore. I can't believe I actually fell for that nonsense. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, my friends, now it's your turn. Drop a comment and share the craziest muscle building myth you ever believed. I would love to hear them. Thanks for watching, and peace be with you.